why should we bother about getting a certificate? Why is that important? What kind of evidence that brings to individual, to organization? Personally, I think that the word is evidence. So a person that does get a certificate has an evidence that went through a course and through a content, and that can be used for several different reasons. And I would hand it over to John to talk a little bit more about that. So why should I have a certificate, not just taking the course and getting the content or reading the guide?
Yeah, thank you, Edson. I think it's a fair question as well, because uh, um, we've all known, we've all met very good project managers who didn't have a certification, and we've probably also met quite bad ones who did. And I think it's important to recognize that there's no magic here. But the other way of looking at it, going back to my point about a doctor, if you're sick and you go to a doctor, yeah, you probably want them to be experienced. You want them to have to know about medicine, but you probably also want to know that they went through medical school and that they're a qualified doctor. And I think it's the same with this. And when you look at, when all of you, and I'm just seeing the amazing comments here in the chat, and it's great that so many people have done the essential certificate, and some of the best value is what people are saying, is that it's helping them with their work, because that's what this is all about. And so I think there are lots of different ways of looking at value. I think there is evidence, just as you said, Edson. Yeah, actually, yes, I have shown my knowledge to this level. Absolutely. I think when you start looking then across an organization and across organizations, if multiple people have done this, then again, it facilitates a shared conversation. A lot of good project management is getting the right people to have the right conversation at the right time and in the right way. And if you've got a common language, it makes life easier. And if people have got a certification, well, okay, then you've got some common ground. I think another value is that it sets a platform. I mean, Edson, you mentioned going on to doing the Project D Pro certification. Absolutely. The essentials. This is the first. It's like a ladder. This is the first rung. Okay, then you go up to Project D Pro, and then if you're managing programs, you could look at Program D Pro, or you could look at the Project D Pro practitioner level, which again, it's more advanced. So I think there's a value of the certification in almost getting you onto the platform. And then I also think there's a broader value around credibility. And I think that is not just about individuals. I think it's about organizations as well. That if you have an organization where a number of people can, we know what we're talking about and we can prove it because we've been through a certification process, I think that gives credibility to an organization. And not just with donors or with international organizations, but with communities. I think it shows a commitment that as an individual and an organization, that you're serious about this, that you recognize that managing projects effectively and efficiently is critical to humanitarian work and to development work. You're serious about this. You've invested your time and your effort, maybe even your resources, and as a result, you're certified, your colleagues are certified, and as a result, you're better able to manage your project. So I'll stop there for the moment, Edson, because I could talk about this forever. Back to you.
Thank you, John. Thank you. I couldn't say that. I mean, but we talk about the value about credibility, about the credibility for the individuals, for the organization, but is the sector really valuing and embracing those certifications? And I can share a little bit, PM. We have over 30,000 people certified in Project Pro. And we have to still add MIL-DPRO, Financial Department Program DPRO. So that shows that there is a big community with this common language already using the method. This is just the ones who got certified. We have to remember that many people just get the methodology and go to the field and start using it and start, which is the vision for PM4NGOs. Many people take the project manager essentials, and that's enough knowledge for the work that that specific person is doing. And one thing that it's, when we look at the corporate sector, it's very common that we see many companies saying, "No, to apply for this job, you have to be certified." In our sector, we don't see that much. We don't see much the organization say you have to be certified to apply for a specific job. Or a donor say your organization has to have a team certified to apply for this bid or for this call. But that's because we are inclusive. And I see we have hundreds of organizations applying and adopting Project DPRO. What they do is they, of course, prefer to hire someone that is already certified, or to hire someone that already has that knowledge. But there is no, like, maybe this is not very clear in our sector because there is not mandatory, which I think it's great, because many of those organizations, once you get to that position, to that project, to that work, they say, okay, so now you have some time to take that certification, to take that course, and to improve your skills and to speak the same language. And I know that Disaster Ready has run a survey. I would like to hand it over to Tina to talk a little bit about the survey that Disaster Ready has done, and that talks about exactly what is this, is really the sector embracing and valuing that certification?
Yeah, it's a key question for sure. And we survey our learners each year, and for, I would say, the last 5 or 6 years, our learners have come back and said, we really want to have more assessment-based certificates and certifications because they want to demonstrate their skills and knowledge. They want to be able to demonstrate that they're competent in, and you can pick the topic, project management, procurement and logistics, monitoring, evaluation and learning, all those sorts of things. And so that's why in the last 5 years, Disaster Ready has worked with partners like PM4NGOs, Pyramid Learning, Mercy Corps, and others to be able to create assessment-based certificate programs and even certifications. You'll see 10 of those. We have 10 of them out on disasterready.org. Again, all of those are free. But just coming back to why a certification, and something that John said about credibility. You know, at the end of the day, your organization may not be able to afford to send everybody to get fully certified on Project DPRO, but you can look for those opportunities to, and this is what John said, even if you use your own resources to get certified, I would have to say that there's a greater likelihood that your performance will improve because you're using best practices to manage those projects. In turn, that means that the organization you're working for will do better at accomplishing their mission. And that in turn does better for the affected communities, right, that are using your services. So I'm a very optimistic person, and so in much of my career, I've had to take that initiative to go out and build the skills on my own, so that then I can demonstrate, look what can be done when you're applying stakeholder management techniques or using an issues log. What about a risk log? I've worked in this sector for, goodness, I guess since 2007 now. And I really haven't seen too many of the organizations I've been with use many of these best practices. They're not hard. It's just learning them, understanding how to use them, and then applying them. But once people do, the result speaks for itself. And that comes back to building credibility personally and organizationally.